gold producer, DRDGold, increasing its production by 6%. This after Eskom supply disruptions were absent in this period. Operating profits up 5%, with headline earnings per share also increasing to 10 cents per share compared to the previous period. In the studio to talk about the results is Niël Pretorius, the CEO of DRDGold. So Niël, I was remarking as you were walking in that you were walking with the swagger. You corrected me and said you had a little limp, but the swagger is there in terms of what you did in this set of numbers. I can't remember the last time I sat here or wrote about a company increasing its dividend fourfold. How did you do that?
It's been a good year for us. Look, the business has been set up over time, and I think we're finally starting to reap the benefits, the dividends, so to speak, of many years of planning and consolidation. And we've also taken the first step towards growth with the addition of the Carletonville-based Far West operations, which we acquired from Sibanye-Stillwater. So it's a business that's differently set up, and certainly, I think, taking advantage of both a good gold price and
the weaker rand.
And a weaker rand. That really only came in the last few months, but it's been a good year where I think the system has overcome the increasing number of challenges that we have to face operationally as a business.
Yeah, one of the things that surprised me a little bit in your numbers is the top line, given 1, the weaker rand, 2, the higher gold price, and 3, the higher gold production. Why wasn't it higher?
Well, no, I think production was pretty flat at our Ergo operations, and we now saw a little bit of a small trickle coming through from the Far West. The higher gold price and the drop in the value of the rand, that really only started to impact the operations after June. There's a little bit of that late in June, but it was mostly in the new calendar year, or the new financial year. The average gold price that we received for the 12 months up to the end of June was 577,000 rand a kilo.
Well, this is the rand gold price.
This is the rand gold price. This morning it was at 750,000 rand a kilo.
My goodness.
So take these numbers and multiply it by that, and you'll see, what sort of dynamic that brings into it.
Yeah.
So that's the platform for this year going forward, which we think is a very attractive platform for the business.
Absolutely. We're going to play the other game that we always play when you report on gold mining companies. Where is the gold price going to be in 10 years' time? A little later. But let's talk a little bit about the potential of these tailings projects that you are starting now that has brought in a fairly good amount of money here. How sustainable is the first question? Secondly, what is the potential in terms of size and contribution that it could do to the business if perhaps the gold price stays where it is?
Well, it looks as though this might be the first year where this business will go through 3 billion rand in revenue.
Wow.
And as a consequence, I think if you then apply that multiplier, the number of times that money coming in, the role that can play in South Africa within the context of the economy, within the context of society, future growth and so forth. I think the mood's a little down in South Africa at the moment, so it's important that you have this sort of dynamic, and every little bit helps. What we shouldn't lose sight of is the fact that what we're processing is material that other people have thrown away.
Yes.
And there's hundreds of millions of tons of that, and we have infrastructure that can connect us with most of that, both here in the Johannesburg area as well as from the Far West Rand. So I think for many, many years for us it's been a case of consolidation and setting up the business, developing our systems and so forth. And although the company is 130 odd years old, I think this is really chapter 1 for us insofar as growth is concerned. So I think we are moving away from the consolidation phase of the business towards the growth phase. And we're very fortunate to have Sibanye-Stillwater as our main shareholder. They have a vast footprint, and I think we've only scratched the surface of some of the assets that are disappearing within their portfolio because it's not core business for them. They don't play in shallow water. But within the context of our business, it could be significant, and there could be some premium up front, some value unlock, and maybe even some more of the same.
Niël, are you hiring? Are you hiring?
Not at the moment, no. But as we expand, obviously, areas for example, the new business that we just acquired, that was one where jobs, about 120 jobs were on the line because of reorganization and contraction of underground mining. And they're a new lease of life, another 10, 15, potentially even 20 years. It's been created, and obviously those employees have better job security going forward.
Absolutely. One of the surprising numbers in your set of numbers is that there's no number on debt, like it's zero.
Yes.
That must be absolutely thrilling.
Yeah, for us, that's a very good outcome, probably one of the best outcomes for the year, because we spent the equivalent of 15% of our market cap on new projects.
Sure.
Admittedly, the market cap was a little down at the time when we did the calculations, a lot higher now. But it was just on 330 million rand that we spent on a new project, the Far West project, on capital infrastructure. We borrowed just on 190 million rand, and we repaid that before the end of the financial year, and we finished the year with just over 280 million rand in the bank.
Sure.
So we finished the year well from a cash flow perspective.
Yeah, and so the question has got to be, so what you're going to do next in terms of now trying to take the business forward? Yes, we've spoken about the potential of the tailings business. What else? Is this about perhaps looking at new mines? I haven't heard about any new gold mining discoveries in a few years.
Yes. Look, I think it's important to be very disciplined now.
Yeah.
We have a good relationship and a very strategic relationship that can bring new resources into our existing footprint. I don't think we want to go on a buying spree, and we're certainly not going to overpay for assets only because the gold price is really high.
Are you looking though?
Well, I think we're always looking at opportunities, but I think the primary thing for us now is to spend money on efficiencies. We're still leaving about half of the gold that comes into the plant behind in the tail.
Sure.
So the true value unlock for us still remains in finding a solution for a better optimization of our existing ore body.
Yeah.
And maybe being less volume dependent and just increasing the per capita value of every ton of the product that we treat. So for us, that will be an important one. It's all discipline going forward now, because in gold, the cost line is relentless in pursuit of the revenue line, and you've got to be very disciplined in these almost artificially high periods of gold price, that you don't lose your discipline, you don't lose focus.
Yeah, so those of us who may have written the history of the gold mining industry in South Africa may have been a little too hasty.
Well, remember, we're the big cleanup. We're very fortunate in the sense that we get to clean up what was left behind, and maybe the long-term enduring value will be cleaning up the legacy of 100 years of mining in and around the Johannesburg area. Can you imagine living and there's not a tailings dam next to you, or the streams have all been cleaned out and so forth? And that's what we'll do in the long term. What's nice about it is the fact that we can return a better than average, probably an industry-beating return at this stage, doing just that. So it's nice to have the best of both worlds.
Yeah. When you look forward, we've got the gold price now. It was up, I think, a note point, less than 1% anyway. This is for today, but certainly squarely and solidly above that $1,500 mark. When does that gold price begin to threaten the viability of your tailings business?
Well, at the moment, it is way beyond the cost line. We were paid on average, I think I said earlier, 570,000 rand a kilo for the financial year, and the gold price this morning was 750,000 rand a kilo. We're producing, set up to produce about 5 tons of gold, so you can do those numbers and see what the revenue will look like. The revenue line, it could potentially look like, rather, whereas costs are relatively static. We're not expecting very significant increases in costs other than the normal ones associated with labor and with Eskom. So it's a good period for us, provided that this particular gold price can prevail. Yeah. But our business has been set up, and wasn't that long ago that we had to wash our face at 500,000 rand a kilo, which is 250,000 rand a kilo less than what we're doing now. Sure. I'm not saying that we'll be making profits at that sort of level, but we have set up the business in such a way that it's most certainly sustainable. We can ride that cycle. And as a general rule, we don't hedge, we don't protect revenue, we take full exposure to the gold price. So when you go into that sort of cycle, it's a wonderful buying opportunity for the market again. And astute investors that understand the gold cycle and that also understand our business, they take advantage of those cycles.
Absolutely. Here comes the question. Where will the gold price be next year?
Well, I tell you what, I think there's certainly enough substance-wise to support the gold price at current levels. But whether that's the reason why the gold price is at these levels, I'm not so sure. I think there's a lot of sentiment in the gold price at the moment. Right. So we could be going into a period of volatility, and I think we need to be prepared for that.
Absolutely. I remember always when you ask this question, you would never get a forecast that says that the gold price is going to be down from a gold mine producer. Times change. Thanks for coming in, Niël.
Thank you, Godfrey.
Niël Pretorius is the CEO of DRDGold.